You want to unmute yourselves. I'm not Jill Celeste, as you can probably see. I'm her understudy. And I'm just going to say thank you this morning for coming to Keep It Local, which is a virtual online networking group that meets every Friday from 8 to 9. And we're happy to have you. So I've never done this before, so just bear with me. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to just say a few things this morning, and then we're going to, each of us will go around and I'll call on you to introduce yourselves, give your 30-second speech. Then I'm going to do an introduction to a really awesome speaker we have today, Megan St. Lawrence, who is really unique, and I can't wait to hear her presentation. Then we'll have a few minutes, hopefully, for Q&A. And then if you guys have any announcements, you can share them at the end. And then I'll give a little motivational moment, and then we'll be done by 9. And then we can begin our TGIF. How's that sound? Woo! One thing, so housekeeping stuff is if you move your cursor to the bottom of the screen, you'll see that there's a chat box. If you would each just put in your name and your email address, that's how Jill takes attendance. And so then she'll know who was here and all that great stuff. So thank you for being here. You're going to have some fun today. So I think we have Laura on the line, and Laura Shipman is one of the attendees today, and she is the mastermind behind Keep It Local, which was originally an in-person networking group in the state of Florida. So there's a lot of Floridians who attend the online network. But Jill had the idea to take it virtual. So this is one of 2 virtual meeting places. Thank you for being here. So if you wouldn't mind, well, let's start going around and just introducing yourself and saying a little bit about your business. So you'll need to unmute yourselves. I'll unmute everyone. I think I have the capacity to do that. No, you don't. So you have to unmute yourself. So Mary Beth Decker, I'm going to start with you. as she leaves the screen.
I'm fiddling with my tea.
I've got my coffee, so no worries.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm Mary Beth Decker. My business is sacredgrove.com. I'm going to say it again because I've heard Scary Grove, Sacred Groove. It's sacredgrove.com. I'm an intuitive animal communicator. I found out I have the ability to tune into people's animals, and I'd let you have a 2-way conversation with them. People use me when they want to discuss issues with their animals, like behavioral issues. They want to tell them things. And I work with end-of-life transitions as well for the people and the animals. And that has turned into working with animals' well-being, physical well-being, body scans and stuff like that. My tagline is sacredgrove.com, where people and pets heal and connect. Well, that's me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary Beth.
It's awesome.
I'm going to scroll over and see who we have. I'm going to just go in order. Deb Kelly. If you can unmute yourself, Deb. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Woohoo! I didn't even know my computer had speak. My name is Deb Kelly, and I own the Right One Creative Services since 2005. I am an independent, woman-owned, award-winning graphic design, web design, and copywriting company. And I'm actually with Keep It Local West Chase. And I was intrigued by doing a virtual meeting, so I wanted to check you guys out. And basically, if it's your inspiration, it's my creation. Nice to meet everyone.
Love that. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome.
Laura Shipman.
Hey everybody, my name is Laura Shipman. I'm the founder of Keep It Local. Keep It Local has been around in the Tampa Bay area for about 6 years. and we're a seat-specific networking and business development organization. So we get together weekly, whether it's online or in real life, to exchange leads, referrals, and also learn a couple of things too. So it's great to see everybody here, and welcome to this chapter. And Deborah, you're doing awesome.
Oh, thank you. I'm a little nervous. So, Rena, would you like to say hello?
Hey guys, my name is Rena. I am in Florida also. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Oh, okay. I am new to this whole business aspect. Last week was my first virtual networkers meeting. I'm really excited about today's speaker. I think it sounds really great. So I hope I get to stay for the whole time, but my business is health and wellness, and with a focus on supplements. So
wonderful. Well, nice to meet you, Michelle. So if you join late, one thing I'll ask you to do is, as we're going through the introductions, if you would just go to the Zoom and type in your name and your contact information, your website, and your email. So, Michelle, are you there?
Michelle's my mom. She's at work. She's probably not going to talk. She's just watching.
Awesome. I'm going to just go down the line then. Connie Jo Miller.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Connie Jo Miller. I am a bookkeeper and financial coach. I make sure that you have impeccable tax and audit-ready books. And I make sure that you understand your financial statements so that you can make database decisions about your business and specifically the finances of your business.
Yay. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
And let's see, I'm going to go around. Kate, can you unmute yourself and say hello?
Kate's also here for me. I don't know if she's going to do much talking.
Okay. All right. No worries. Kristen.
Her too.
Okay. Do we have everyone? Do I have everyone? Let's see. Mary Beth, Kristen, and Connie Jo. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming. So what we'll do, Megan, you need to introduce yourself. And then I'll introduce myself.
Okay. My name's Megan. I'm the co-founder and co-owner of Mind, Body, Spirit Home. My friend and I decided to start this business. Technically, we officially started in December, but it's something we've been doing for a while. We met 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now, and we're bouncing ideas off of each other and found out that we both were very much into metaphysics, and it was still very new to us. And so we started, I'm a medium and she's energy sensitive and she has medium abilities too. So we started just doing readings for each other and people. And one day it came up that we were going to help a neighbor of ours clear out their house. They had spirits in their house that were haunting them basically. And so she asked us if we could come over and take care of it. So we said, I don't know, let's try. So we did. That first one, not so successful, way over our heads, very green in that world. But over the past couple of years, we've been doing it more and more, going to friends' houses. And now in December, we decided to make it an official business. And that's how it started. That's what we do. I do readings on the side. And then today I'm going to talk to you guys about our main goal, what we're really doing.
That's so cool. Thank you. So I'm Deborah Keevan of deborahkeevan.com, and I help visionary entrepreneurs who need to share their wisdom and light with the world, do it on the page, on their copy, in books and blogs, and so that they can shine and magnetically attract their ideal clients and repel the ones they don't want to work with. That's in a nutshell. So thank you, everyone, for being here. So now we get to come to this juicy part that everyone's here for. All right, so I'm going to talk about, we have Megan. Megan is a spirit medium and oracle, but her main passion is spreading enlightenment on the spiritual gift of madness. I love the title of her presentation. It's We're All Mad Here, right? She works on the belief that people who struggle with things like what society calls anxiety and depression are really just energetically gifted and sensitive. So welcome, Megan.
Thank you. I'm so excited, you guys. I'm so excited to be here. So yeah, like I was saying, we started our business, clearing houses, spreading enlightenment with hauntings and stuff like that. But let me backtrack a little bit. So in 2012, I'll give you a brief little window into how I came to all of this. And in 2012, I had a moment and I was sleeping. One of my guides came to me, and I didn't know anything about any of this at this time. So this is hindsight calling them my guide. And she said to me, I'm going to take you somewhere. And I said, okay, you know, I thought I was dreaming at this point. So she takes me to the other side. Long story short, everything looks like I'm looking through rose-colored glasses. There's a pink film on everything. And I didn't know until later after I started reading that other people that have had these experiences say the same thing. So I visit with my grandfather, I visit with an old friend, and then I'm trying to search for this other friend that had recently passed away, and I couldn't quite bring him to my mind. So she told me that my energy was running low and it was time to go back. So we go back and I wake up and I'm thinking, I just went somewhere and I need to get a hold of this before it turns into the movie Insidious and I get stuck somewhere. I don't know what's going on. Like, this is kind of scary. So I reached out to a couple local mediums, and one took me under her wing and kind of mentored me and taught me, you know, about my ability. And I came to her house and I did a reading for her, and it was just bizarre. I'd never done anything like this before. And her dad came through, and I see this big Navy ship, and she's crying. She's like, he was in the Navy. And I didn't know this woman from Eve. I hardly knew her last name. And so I'm like, so what does this mean for me? And she's like, well, you're a medium and you're, you know, you're gifted. And I said, okay, my main question is, how do I know if this is something I can do or if this is something I'm supposed to do? How do I know if this is a hobby or a career path? And she said something that stuck with me. She said, if it's what you're meant to do, Spirit won't let you keep any other jobs. Spirit won't let you do what you're not supposed to do. So you just keep trucking and figure it out. And I was like, okay. So fast forward about 2 years after that, now we're in 2014. And I was a nurse, been a nurse since 2010. And over the course of those 2 years, I would get jobs and lose them and get jobs and lose them. And it's not because I wasn't good at my job. I loved nursing and I was really good at what I did and I was great at landing interviews. It would always be something I had no control over. In 2014, the biggest one, I was working at the hospital, but to get to work on time, I had to drop my son off early because of the traffic. But then I would have to leave early to pick him up on time, or I would have to pay like extra money because he'd be there too late. Well, the boss, after a couple months, wasn't having it and called me into his office on Valentine's Day morning in 2015, I guess, and said, you know, this isn't working out. We're going to have to let you go. And I was steaming mad. And I went out to the parking deck and I sat in my car and I'm talking to my guides. And y'all, I'm very candid and I'm very casual and I'm very laid back. I don't do the prim and proper. And, you know, so I'm sitting in my car and I'm talking to my guides and I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? Like, why do I keep getting these great jobs? I love what I do. I love my job. I love being a nurse. They pay good. They support me and my son. Why can't, what do you want me to do? And at that moment, my mentor's message popped in my head. If it's what you're meant to do, Spirit won't let you do anything else. So I said, okay, guys, what am I supposed to be doing? And when you're an oracle, you get information. You don't hear it. It's just like the knowledge is put in your head all of a sudden. And all of a sudden I get, they're not crazy. And I'm like, who's not crazy? Because right now I'm feeling crazy. Like, and they're like, and specifically they say people with schizophrenia are not crazy. I said, okay. And they said, and you're going to help them. And at this time I was 23, turning 24. And I was like, I'm 23 years old. What do you mean I'm going to help them? And they're like, this is what you're going to do. People with anxiety, people with depression, bipolar, personality disorder, schizophrenia, personal detachment, they're not crazy and you need to help them. So I'm like, okay, I guess that's why I don't have this job. So I wasn't as mad about losing the job at that point, but I was still kind of frustrated because I need money, right? You need to work. So I said, all right, well, then you guys are going to give me a job where I can nurse to make money for me and my son, but put me in a situation where people are going to be open to this because in that 2-year span where I was losing a lot of jobs, one of them was because I worked for a very, very religious doctor. And when he caught wind of what I did, he found every reason in the book to, this wasn't done right, or, we need a different kind of nurse or whatever. So I said, you're going to put me somewhere where I'm surrounded with people that can help me do this. For about 6 months, I worked some baloney travel insurance nurse job or whatever. And then I landed this job with this concierge physician. Cat.
We like your cat.
He's so noisy. Landed this job with a concierge physician, and I was very hesitant to talk about what I did or my abilities because I had lost jobs before. I live in the South. I'm in Virginia. It's kind of mixed here. It's becoming more open, but this was 4 years ago. And over a very short period of working with him, I find out that his right-hand chick is very into crystals, very into metaphysics. I find out that he has a best friend who's Greek, who sages his house and gets out spirits, and told him one painting was cursed, so he threw it out. So I find out that he's going to a medium to talk to her and stuff. So I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it. They put me somewhere where I can be myself and I can figure out what I'm doing. So I go in to get these classes, and I'm a student at University of Sedona. I'm going to get my PhD in metaphysical counseling. And so I find this course, this school. It's the only accredited metaphysical college in the world. It can't be accredited because it sounds secular, but they have a program that the government recognizes, right? So I get this course, and I'm studying these classes, and for some reason I say, I'm going to get online and look at this book. And when you mentioned, Debbie, the Spiritual Gift of Madness, I got that's a book. It's by Seth Farber. And if anybody's interested in this topic, I highly suggest you read it. He talks about the Mad Pride movement in the 70s. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. In the 70s, there was the Mad Pride movement, and it was basically this. They were way ahead of their time. It was built on the basis of R.D. Laing's teaching. And it basically was saying, people aren't crazy. We don't have to take medicine. There's other ways we can deal with this. And if you think about it, you guys, in biblical days, in thousands, millions of years ago, people were doing this all the time. People were mediums all the time. They were talking to God. They were talking to burning plants. They were healing people with touch. Jesus did it all the time. People were going into meditative trances to the point where people thought they were dead. It happened all the time. It was normal. And then, Roman Catholicism comes in their century and says, well, if everybody can do it, we're not special. So we're going to make sure everybody knows it's evil unless we do it. And, that's where the stigma comes from. Not that I have anything against any religions, because they all basically teach the same thing. And so that's where it comes from. So I'm reading this book and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. Modern medicine is calling us crazy, people that have these gifts, when, modern society is the one that's crazy. And you get this term called creative maladjustment. And it's how people that are gifted learn to function in the world without suppressing their gifts, but without getting locked up in the loony bin. Some people are resistant to it because they feel like, they're not being their true self. But one of the biggest things in a lot of topics I talk about, I mentioned this, you don't have to shove who you are in somebody's face to be who you are. Who you are is a personal thing. It doesn't have to be, flamboyantly stuffed down people's throats for you to be that person. We have to accept ourselves. We can't constantly fight for that acceptance and affirmation and justification from everybody else, because no matter how many people believe you and how many people trust you and how many people validate that for you, you're still going to feel empty, because you're not doing it yourself, and you're still going to be attacking the 1% of people who aren't opening up to who you are and accepting it. You're never going to have 100% acceptance, no matter what you are, who you are, what you do, what you look like. So finding that in ourselves is the most important part. But when we're in a society where it says, oh, you feel sad, here, take some medicine, that's a really easy solution. And at the fast-paced strain that we run at, easy solutions is what we're all about. I mean, who here has ever done a fad diet? or taken some type of diet, pill, or, or tried those MLM companies, rapid hair growth, 4 inches in 2 weeks. Like, we all want instant gratification and we all want the easy way out. So when a doctor says, oh, you're sad, here's some pills, who wouldn't say, oh, okay, a pill's going to make me happy. That's great. A pill's going to make me skinny. A pill's going to make me healthy. But it doesn't actually fix the problem. And I don't know very many people. I can say maybe a few because I'm a nurse and I've had patients, but I don't know many people that are on one medicine for anxiety, or just one medicine for depression, or just one medicine for bipolar. They're on a cocktail. And I'm going to explain to you why. So this is really important. So when you go to the doctor and you say, I'm really sad and I don't know why, even if you go see the doctor that I was working for who's into metaphysics, he took an oath and he's under law, and he can't be a metaphysical doctor because he went to school to be a scientific doctor. But he knows, and he would let me talk to people. He would give me I was his scribe, so I would type everything that he said. He would give me 20, 30 minutes with certain people and but anyway, so you go to the doctor and you tell them, I'm sad. I don't know why I'm sad, but I'm always sad. So the doctor's not going to sit down and try to figure out why you're sad. They're either going to send you to a therapist who's got a 4-month waiting list and a $60 copay, or they're going to say, here's some pills. And you're going to say, okay, and you're going to take the pills. Come back in a month. Let me know how you feel. You're going to go back in a month, and you're going to say, okay, well, it's kind of helping with this, but now I have this problem. Or scratch that. You're going to come back and say, this one's not working. Okay, I'm still sad, and I don't know why. And the doctor says, okay, well, stop that one, start this one. So now we're on medicine B, okay? And I think I'm backwards to you guys. I am in my camera, but you get the drift. We're going to start medicine B. Come back in a month and let me know how you feel. So you say, okay, he's the doctor, right? So you take the medicine for a month, you come back and you say, doc, I'm feeling a little better, but now I have this new problem. Well, let me tell you where that comes from. When you came in and you were sad for no reason, he gave you a medicine. You took it for a month. Your brain became somewhat dependent on that medicine to produce the chemicals that are in that pill. And then you stop taking it and you start a new one. Well, the original problem was not fixed by that first medicine. So now he gives you a second medicine. This medicine is a little bit helping, but now you have a second problem because your brain is not producing the chemicals that the first medicine he gave you was producing. And then the doctor says, oh, well, you're having this new problem, try this third medicine. So now you're on 2, not on the first one anymore. So then now you're still a little sad. Now you're confused and you're agitated, and you have 2 new problems that you didn't have when you came in with. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like this cycle. And a lot of people are afraid of new age medicine. And I laugh at that, and I say it in quotes because it's not new at all. It's old as time. It's what we've been doing since the beginning. It's where these medicines that they create in a lab came from. And instead of using the natural supplements, they're like, oh, we can stick this in here and boost it up. Or if you're a believer in big pharma conspiracies, they're going to stick this stuff in it to make you feel this way, so you have to come back and take another pill. I'm not saying I don't take medicine, guys. I take Concerta every day for ADHD, because if I didn't, my brain would fall apart and melt out my ears. I've been on it since I was 17, though. Had I tried something different when I was younger, would it have worked differently? Maybe. My son takes it too. He's super ADD. I'm not saying everything is like this. I'm a firm believer that, there are different imbalances that can occur. I believe if it's environmentally created, it's environmentally cured. But if you start taking a medicine and you create an imbalance, I'm sure I have an imbalance now because I've been dependent on this medicine for so long, but you start taking a medicine, you have an imbalance, that's probably not going to get fixed with, metaphysics or, anything that I can do. You have to wean off of those and give your brain time to readjust. We also have instances where we have anxieties, phobias, depressions from past life experiences. We also can carry our parents' phobias and fears and anxieties because it's in the DNA that they pass on to us. I mean, that part is scientifically proven. I can offer you the facts for that. I mean, it's in our DNA. You can have anxiety because your mom's great uncle, well, maybe not uncle, we'll say grandfather, great grandfather had it, and it's in the DNA somewhere, and you just happen to catch that part of the DNA. It's just like my great grandfather has really dark hair and everybody else has blonde. I have really dark hair. You get it from him. Things can be passed like that. And everything about us is cellular and energetic. So even our emotions and the way we process things, that's why I tell people when you have a house that's occupied, that's haunted, and that energy can influence your body physically. It can make you sick, it can make you tired, lethargic, and it can influence your emotions. It can make you tired. It can change your thought process because it gets in there and you're absorbing that energy and it's changing your cellular buildup. And so many people, then you move and then you still feel like crap, but you don't know it's because you lived in a house that was affecting you for so long. It's so many things to wrap into 30 minutes, but I will tell you this example. When people that are energetically sensitive, I would say 9 times out of 10 suffer from some sort of depression, whether it's situational, whether it's minuscule, whether it's just little moments here and there. But you find yourself in the day feeling sad or frustrated and you don't know why, or anxious, or anything, and you don't know where these emotions are coming from. It doesn't just have to be a sad emotion. People with bipolar have manic high states, and they're like super hyper and super energetic. When you're energetically sensitive and you're walking down the street, I imagine somebody walking in like a big city, and there's people passing them on both sides. And somebody passes you who just lost their job, their mom died last week, their dog's in the hospital, and they're really upset. When you're energetically sensitive, it's like, you're going to collect all of that if you don't know how to set boundaries, if you don't know that you're collecting all of it, if you don't know how to bubble yourself and protect your energy, you're going to feel it. And then you're going to feel sad all day. And then you're going to go home and think, man, I'm in a funk for no reason. I must be depressed. I got to go to the doctor and get medicine. And that's where that conversation starts. So what I teach people is that, and I don't rule out medical diagnosis. Well, I rule out medical diagnosis before I go into this. I'm never the person that walks around a room and like covers the camera and asks, oh my gosh, did you hear that? And it's scientific first. So when I sit down with people, I do an 1.5 hour intake. I ask them what medicines they've been on, what their parents have been diagnosed with, what their parents went through as children, what they went through as children, what they went through as adults. And when I talk to people and I find out that they're energetically sensitive, I can usually tell within a couple minutes. People are either empathetic or they're not. And I teach people to ground, protect, and elevate. And that's the 3 things that I'm going to talk about today in the blip that Jill put in there. It said that I was going to explain how to do those things. So that's what I'm going to do. And obviously it's much more in depth than I can put in, this time that we have today, but this is the basics. It's ground, protect, and elevate in that order. And it's super simple. I taught my son when he was 3 years old because he had been through quite a bit. Well, maybe he was 4. I could teach to a 3-year-old anyway, but he's 7 now. He'll be 8. I have a daughter also who's 6, and they're awesome. But I've taught it to several kids, and it's super simple. Ground, protect, elevate. When you ground, you're grounding your energy. When you feel anxiety, it's a physical emotion, right? You feel it in your body. You feel jittery, okay? When that's coming from not you, your spirit and your physical body's emotions are not connected. Your spiritual energy and your physical energy are not connected when you're having anxiety. So we want to ground for 2 reasons. We want to ground to calm that energy, and we want to ground to connect that spiritual energy back to our physical energy. The easiest way I can explain to ground is what my best friend does, what she tells people to do. You imagine roots, like tree roots, in the bottom of your feet. They're part of your body. They've always been there. And you imagine, you don't have to do it. A lot of people think you have to go outside and stand in the dirt. That's a great way to do it. But if you're in your office or you're out to lunch or, you know, you're in church or whatever you're doing, you just imagine your feet flat on the ground. It's best if you can at least put your feet flat on the ground. And imagine the roots, and they come out of your feet, and they're just growing and growing and multiplying, and they're grabbing every little parcel of dirt, and they're spreading out and down and grabbing the earth with like the most strength you can imagine. And sometimes when I do it, it goes all the way down past the end of the earth, wraps back around and comes back until I feel suffice. There's no time limit. There's no guided meditation on it. You do it till you feel grounded. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, if I don't know what that feels like, how will I know? But I promise you, you will know. You just do it till you feel suffice. So that's grounding. We're going to do that to calm our energy and to connect our spiritual energy and our physical energy. Protecting. Imagine a bubble around you. I give this example because when I was a kid, I went to VBS, a Vacation Bible School, and they did this to show, I think, the love of God or something, but I use it for this because it makes so much sense. Imagine yourself standing in a kiddie pool, like the blue plastic kind, and it's full with bubble water, and you have a hula hoop in it around you, and someone on the outside shakes the hula hoop, and they pull it up around you, and they twist it at the top. So this bubble is now around you. I've seen it happen. It's real. They did it at Vacation Bible School. So there's a literal bubble around you. It's see-through. You can still see what's going on. You can still see everybody. You can still communicate with people. But your energy is protected. Their energy is not coming through that bubble, and your energy stays where it needs to. It's not bouncing off the walls like this anymore because you've grounded, and now you've protected. Call that bubbling. And you can put a bubble around people. I put bubbles around my kids all the time because they're kids. They're neurotic. They need bubbling, and they don't remember to do it. So we ground to calm our energy and to connect our spiritual and physical energy. We bubble to protect our energy and keep other people's energy out. So we're not feeling all those emotions that we walk past people in the grocery store or at the bank or at the post office, okay? Then we're going to elevate. And this one is subjective. We're only going to elevate on 2 occasions. If you're having an anxiety attack, most times you're not going to elevate because your energy is already heightened, okay? So if it's just anxiety, if you just feel overwhelmed, it's grounding and it's bubbling. If you're feeling low, depressed, you're feeling personal detachment, dissociation, any of those negative emotions where you're feeling low, that's when you're going to elevate. Or if, like you, Mary Beth, if you're communicating, you probably do this anyway. If you're communicating with spirit, or you're trying to talk to God, or you're praying, or you're talking to source, or you want to download, that's the other time you're going to elevate. So you're going to elevate if you're feeling low in any emotion, or you're going to elevate if you're trying to communicate with spirit or your guides, whatever you call God, the universe, love, that's when you're going to elevate, okay? So you always ground if you're going to elevate. Otherwise, you're shooting up into space without a tether, and you're just going to float away. Not literally, you will be able to come back, but you're not going to get anything done, and you're going to feel really out of body. If you're going to elevate, you always ground first. You always protect your energy, and then you elevate. And you do that by imagining a string in the top of your head. It's there. It's always been a part of you, just like the roots. You have roots in your feet. You have a string in your head. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. When you imagine that string in the top of your head, you shoot it up. Sometimes, to me, it looks like a rocket. Sometimes it looks like a casting line on a fishing pole. But you're going to shoot it up, and it's going to go past the trees. And you think of it just like this. It goes past the trees. It goes past the clouds. It goes through the atmosphere with ease. It does not catch on fire. It goes into space. It goes past our moon. It goes past the stars. It goes out of our galaxy, and it keeps going until you feel sufficed, just like the roots. And you say, well, Megan, how do I know if I'm high enough? How do I feel elevated enough? You will know, because it will immediately bring you out of that funk. I've done it with so many people. I've done it with my kids. I've done it with my neighbors, my friends, my clients, myself. You just elevate, And you think of it very specifically, past the trees, past the clouds, through the atmosphere, past the moon, past the stars, and it just keeps going up, 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 up until you feel sufficed. But if you do it without grounding, I promise you it's going to be like a spacewalk without a tether. You're just going to be floating around up there in no man's land, and you're going to feel really overwhelmed, and it's going to be scary, and you're not going to know what you're doing. Always ground, protect, and elevate. And that is the gist of getting a hold of it, not necessarily harnessing your abilities. That is a much longer conversation, but that is how to avoid the overwhelming, the depression, the anxiety, the bipolar tendencies, the impulse reactions. You're hearing what other people want to do, and it sounds like a great idea to your subconscious. So you're like, hey, yeah, let's go buy a new car. Hey, yeah, let's quit that job. Hey, yeah, let's break my diet. Those are, you have to be able to ground, and it centers your thought process, your emotions, your energy, or everything is energy. Even if you're by yourself all day, ground, protect. Always. Your energy is always moving. The trees, the plants, your cat, it's all energy, and it can all affect you. But that's the gist, and I talk really fast, especially for a Southerner, but I wanted to get it all in, and I think I did. I think I hit my time.
You definitely did. That was fascinating. We have some time for some questions. Does anyone have any questions for Megan? That was just amazing.
Well, I do. Hi, Megan. Where in Virginia are you? I am too. So I got to just ask that first.
Yeah, awesome. I live in Powhatan. It's about 40 minutes west of Richmond.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Alexandria. So fascinating talk. I have some interesting experiences, but I'm going to ask specifically. I went to the Natural Living Expo and did really quick readings for animals, and people, quick, and it was the first time I'd done it. And at the end of that, I felt like I was high, and I'm picking the grounding. I didn't do a grounding between each one. And I apologize to everybody else. I don't know what this fits, but when you're working with people and animals, it seems like what I need to do, even maybe with us who have clients, the grounding between the next person you go to kind of clear the energy is probably really important, no matter what it is you do. As long as you're dealing with somebody's soul, there needs to be a little break.
Absolutely, and it keeps you centered so that you can be better for them. And the bubbling is really important, especially for you, because you don't, want to be picking stuff up and bringing it home and having it affect your energy. Just like when people do Reiki, they don't absorb the energy that they're working with. They are like the pro bubblers, because they're literally like touching, feeling your energy, and they can't absorb it or they'd be in the hospital. So yeah, absolutely. The grounding in between would be great. But I do the same thing. If I do several readings in a day, I tend to feel higher, but it's just because I'm staying, I'm keeping that connection for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think that that's a negative, but if it was uncomfortable to you, then definitely, yeah, the grounding would definitely help.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyone else have any questions for Megan? I have so many, but I don't even know where to begin. I just think that was fascinating, and I'm energy sensitive, and I didn't know that was a thing before.
Yeah.
I mean, I know now, even before today, but so the bubbling was something I just learned about because I do absorb other people's energy. So that's really, that was a really helpful visual to picture the bubble going up. And so one of my questions is, does the bubble change in size? Like if you want someone, like how do you know, do people ever get inside the bubble? Do you want people inside the bubble? How does that work?
No, as far as when we're talking your energy, it's just your bubble. You don't want, now, of course, and I don't know how vague I can put this, but when we have physical relationships with our significant others, to put it vaguely and to be polite, that is definitely a time when someone's in our bubble. And I do a lot of talking to people, especially younger people, obviously, but all ages, really about being really careful who you let in your energy, because that action they're in your bubble. There ain't no bubbling around it. They're in it. And that's a big energy exchange.
Yeah.
And that is letting someone all in your energy, like not just your physical body, it's all your energy. So really that's the only time I'm going to say it's someone's going to be in your bubble, but your bubble is for you. It's for your energy. Now you can bubble other people. Like I said, I bubble my kids. I bubble my house to protect it and keep energies out of my house.
Okay.
So you can do that too. It's not just to yourself, but if you want to keep, like, I don't want spirits in my house. And as a medium, they're like a moth to a light on a porch. So I bubble my house. I'm like, you can't come in here. This is not your energy space. So.
Very cool. Thank you. That was fascinating.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you don't realize you are, but you are sensitive, can it actually like physically manifest by impacting your health?
If you're energetically sensitive, being energetically sensitive, would that specifically affect your health, or the repercussions of not controlling your sensitivity?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. So bubbling would probably.
I'll answer both then. I'll answer both.
Yeah.
Being energetically sensitive, could that alone affect your health? I'm going to say no, because if you're energetically sensitive and you can control who you let in your energy and you work on grounding and elevating like I do, I don't have any health problems. Actually, I guess it could positively affect your health. It would not negatively affect it, but it can positively affect it because you're more in line with your spiritual energy and your physical energy. So you're going to feel, I never get sick. Twice a year do I get sick, and that's asthma, and that's not even really being sick. That's just, inflammation. But I'm healthier than I was. I used to have terrible allergies. I used to get sick a lot, actually. I used to have back problems a lot. Now that I protect my energy and I ground and I elevate and I'm more in tune spiritually and physically, it does not. If you are not in control of it and you are energetically sensitive to the second question and you're picking up other people's energy, absolutely. One, it's going to drain you energetically. So your body is not going to have the energy to fight off normal viruses and allergens and stuff that you come in contact with every day, colds and stuff. And once you get sick, your energy is going to be so low because, it's sporadic and it's not here with you and it's not connected and you're feeling other people's energy and it's very confusing your body. Imagine how it would feel if everybody said their exact emotions out loud over and over and you heard it and people were just looking at you like, I'm sad, I'm happy. How overwhelming that would be. That's what your energy is receiving. So if you're not grounding, protecting, and elevating if you need to, it can absolutely make you sick. It can make you fatigued, tired, nauseous, all of that.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to put a big old bubble around me.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was really fascinating. If anyone wants to get in touch with Megan, she put her Facebook connection in the chat box, and maybe Megan, you could also put any other way that people could contact you in the chat box as well, so they can reach out to you if they choose to. Does anyone have any announcements that they'd like to share with the group? Any activities going on that people can participate in? No? Okay. Well, let's talk about our motivational moment. I didn't see that Jill had anyone do it, so I looked something up. And it couldn't have been more appropriate to Megan's talk, which I had no idea what it was going to be. But this is my quote: "Life is not about better time management, but it's about better boundary management." So let's see what we have here. Perfect. Thank you, Megan, for sharing that. So I think that's really funny that that's what came to me this morning, was about boundaries and managing our boundaries. And now we know how to bubble to keep other people out. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Laura?
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me. This was super fun and an awesome experience. Oh, and I did want to mention to everybody, the link that I posted is my best friend and my Facebook page. It's what we started to do the clearings and stuff. But I'm sharing it because I do a Wake Up Wednesday video every Wednesday at noon. Sometimes, things happen, but they're Wednesday at noon, and I talk about different types or different things about metaphysics, different things about enlightenment. One week I did a video on sleep paralysis and what it really is, and all my videos are saved. There's 11. The first one's really long, and after this meeting, you don't really need to watch the first one. But the rest are like 10, 15 minutes, and they're just about different things. One I did about self-love. I did one about suicide. I did one about manifestation, and they're super awesome, and you can go back and read them and watch them. And if you do, please leave me a comment and let me know that you watched it and what you think, and feel free to share the videos if they really speak to you. And but yeah, every Wednesday at 12 I go live, and then it's recorded so it plays forever.
Wonderful, wonderful. Laura, do you want to maybe explain how people could join the virtual networkers?
Okay, so I'm going to put the link to our website in the chat too, just in case you have questions about Keep It Local. And we have a lot of resources there that you might want to check out as well, because just business resources for people to help them grow their business. Basically what we would do is invite you to come here to this meeting every Friday at 8 a.m. And you can come up to 3 times, and then, by your 3rd time or your 4th time you you come back to the meeting, we ask that you join. Membership is only $175 for the year, and that gets you access to our membership directory online. Also our member portal, which has some tools and things in there as well. And you get access to our network, which means you can connect and network with people, well, mostly in the Tampa Bay area, but now with the 2 virtual network groups all over the world. And I've been hopping in and out of these calls on a weekly basis. And I got to tell you, I've met some really cool people, and it's amazing to hear what everybody does in their businesses. And it was just really exciting to hear Megan talk, and even Mary Beth, about what you guys do. And I don't know, I kind of think my Shih Tzu heard you guys talking, because he was like clamoring to come up on my lap, and he never does that. It was really kind of funny. But I really enjoyed today's, but it's interesting through networking how much we can help each other and how much we can learn from each other and help each other grow. And Deb Kelly is a member with our West Chase chapter here in Tampa Bay. And Deb, you've been with us for quite a few years, like almost since the beginning, right?
Yeah, I started when it was meeting in Oldsmar.
Yep. Yeah, and that was one of our first, add-on chapters. And just the community that we build through Keep It Local. We have a strong Facebook presence, and I know the Facebook algorithm has really changed a lot of lives online, but it's just made it really difficult. And so that's my other business, is a social media manager. And so what I try and do from that business is inject what I know into Keep It Local, so that we can all grow our businesses using the tools in the best way. And even as they change, I'm always out there learning how they're changing and trying to make it so you guys learn and put that into your business so you can get some more exposure. So maybe we would invite you to come back again next Friday, or if this time slot isn't convenient, there's another one at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesdays.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. I think Jill will also send a follow-up email with a link to this video, as well as the information from the chat box, and then more information to join if you'd like. So look for that email. She's actually I just got a note from her. She finished her 5K. So she's back at her hotel room, already having done that this morning in Walt Disney World, where she went to celebrate her birthday. Yes, Megan.
Will I be able to share the link via Facebook, or is that just for virtual networkers and people on Zoom? Because I do have a lot of people that weren't able to tune in at 8, but they wanted to see the chat.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Share that out, and it just, it'll get people interested in you and in Keep It Local at the same time. And
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So there you have it from the head honcho. Terrific. So that's it. We're done a little bit early. Is there anything anyone would like to share before we say arrivederci for the week?
Does anybody have any questions about Keep It Local?
I guess that's a no. Oh, I do think it's very interesting that both Megan, both your cat and your dog came into the picture. Mary Beth is probably like, I'm not surprised.
I know, Mary Beth, I could have used you a couple months ago. I had a pup. I had to actually rehome her. She actually she needed to live on a farm. But man, she was much.
I've been working with some dogs who were a handful. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you for allowing me to fill in for Jill today. She'll be back next week and her wonderful self. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a terrific weekend wherever you are in the world, the country. And thank you again, Megan, for sharing your brilliance. It was really very interesting.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun. And for what it's worth, if you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have known that this isn't what you normally do. So you did all.
Thank you. Jill set me up. Now I've lost everyone. So yeah, so thank you. So look for the email from Jill with a follow-up, and I'll say au revoir.
Bye, y'all. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Deborah, do you need me for anything?
I don't think so, Laura. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.